Good morning from the Sailplane Grand Prix final here in Chile again. Today I've got Mark Tingey with me from New Zealand. Mark, looking at the sky, what do you think about the weather today?
Oh, good morning, Anne. Look, I think it's going to be a boomer today. The clouds are starting to pop off the top mountains already. They're predicting climbs 5 to 6 metres per second up to 16,000 feet today. So I think it's going to be a ripper.
So Mark, you, like most pilots here, grew up on an airfield with your dad, but you haven't really taken up gliding seriously until the last few years.
Yeah, that's right. I built models as a kid, and I spent time on the airfield when my dad was flying, because he was one of the early pilots in New Zealand to explore gliding. Had family commitments for 10-15 years, and it's only just recently that I had a little bit more time and the inclination to get into competition flying. So I really only started seriously competition flying three years ago, but just in club gliders. Started off with the PW5 and then into a geodiscus, and I just decided, well, life's short and I just want to give this a go and see where it's going to end. And so I bought a JS1, and 2 years later, here I am. So yeah, I'm still pinching myself that I'm here.
So you've come here with 600 hours, quite a novice. How are you finding flying in the mountains in Chile?
Well, the first few days I actually found quite daunting, and sometimes they're scary, sometimes they're just downright frightening for a person with my experience. I've done a little bit of flying in Amarama, and so the hills are similar in many ways. They're just smaller. Here this is Amarama on steroids, really. But I've been flying here for probably about 14 days now, so I'm starting to get more comfortable. Went through the Olivares yesterday in the high pass for the first time. We're going back again there today, south-north in the opposite direction. So I've been there once, so I feel a little bit more comfortable that I'll be okay. The good thing about Chile is even in the high passes, there's always an escape route, which is not always the way in New Zealand. You've got to be very, very careful which ridge you get onto in New Zealand. So you do have some comfort that if you do get stuck, there is a way out. So I always keep that in the back of my mind.
So everyone's heard about flying in Amarama in New Zealand, but you're actually from the North Island. Can you tell us a little bit about the gliding in the North Island?
The North Island is interesting, actually. There's a little bit of everything. We have some flatlands, we have fairly extensive pine forests, we have lakes, we have volcanoes at Ruapehu in the Central Plateau, we have some ridges, thermal obviously, we get wave conditions, and we get some really good convergences. Because New Zealand's a small country, you get sea breezes coming in from all directions, and it sets up some really stonking convergences late in the afternoon. So no two flights are ever the same in the North Island, and the good thing about it is that we can fly in many directions. It's not sort of north-south. It's depending on the conditions, we can go either into the hills, we can go over the forests, we can go up north on the flat pastoral agricultural land. So it's interesting.